but what it needs to be, present value of all the cash flows if they are negative. So we're going to use a function called SUMIF. It's going to, for each row in a range that I'm going to tell, it's going to test something. If that test is true, it's going to add stuff up. And the range that I'm going to check is this clean cash flow. The second argument is the criteria, less than 0. Third argument is what am I adding up? It doesn't have to be that. In fact, it's going to be these. As you can see, project cost is 50, but that $20,000 negative cash flow in year 4 has a present value of what is that? 13,816. So I added those up. You know, if there was a negative right here as well, it just adds the present values that are negative. But the way we modified it, it is now a cash flow that is conventional, which means I can calculate an IRR on it without worrying about whether or not there are multiple solutions. So I'm going to take this one and call this modified IRR. And that's IRR for these modified cash flows. Let me get this back to the original number. Now, modified when the cash flows are not conventional, modified IRR will be different from IRR, whatever that solution may be. When the cash flows are conventional, they will be exactly the same for a simple reason. If the cash flows are not conventional, I'm not doing any modification. So IRR is computed for the same set of cash flows. Let's save this one. There is one more investment criteria that I am not particularly hot on, but it's in the book, and I'm supposed to test you on it. And if you ever get a question from that in the test, it will be one of the optional topics. Uh, we have it to satisfy the accountants. It's called accounting rate of return or average accounting return. I'm sorry. As the name suggests, this criteria is calculated using accounting numbers. So for each project, for a project, we need projections of uh, net income. Work with me, come on. It's the good old tactic of close it and open it back. Projections of net income of NIT. We need projections of depreciation. 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 We need projections of depreciation and we need to calculate book value. And the way book value moves, um, book 0 is cost of project, and book T is last year's book value minus this year's depreciation. Then accounting return for each year is simple. Uh, Net income for that year divided by book value the year before. And ARR is basically if you have n years of just average them out. It's easy to calculate, it's just a little bit more laborious. And decision rule is simple. Accept project if average accounting return is greater than your required rate of return. There are multiple reasons why I don't like it. A, just like something like IRR, it doesn't know anything about the scale of the problem. So you should never use that for uh, mutually exclusive projects. B, it's based on accounting numbers. Not that there is anything wrong with accounting, but finance is done in the real world. We're very interested in cash flows, not accounting numbers. That net income number can be affected by accounting practices. For example, depreciation depends quite a bit on what depreciation method you use. And in any case, it is not a cash flow concept. We're not interested in depreciation only to the extent that depreciation affects the taxes, as we're going to talk about that in chapter 9, but it's right there. I'm going to do a few problems, and one of them will be AAR, so it'll be uh, clear. Let's go to some of the previous years, chapter quizzes. These are going to be like your practice quizzes anyway, before the exam. Okay. I have a project that has those cash flows. Relevant discount rate is 8%. What is the MPV if the project costs 1,700? First thing I ask, how many years of cash flow do you get? 5. So when we go back to our templates, life of the project is 5. It's already there. Our cost of capital is 8, I believe. Yes. Project cost is 1,700. And the cash flows are 852, 746, 631, and 402. As you can see, as soon as I enter the project life, the cash flows that I need to enter as inputs are made green background.